would you look at that? We're already back. We see players in their seats, their hands on the mouses all moving around, which means, hey, maybe we're about to have a game underway. Welcome back, gentlemen. I got a little game I want to play here.
Okay.
Let's say you're Virtus Pro captain right now. What is your first 2 bans against Monkey Business? Is it going for the Tusk, the Undying? What do you think?
I was going to say, like, do you ban just, like, the really strong meta heroes right now? Do you ban away the Doom? Do you ban away the Alchemist and Wisp?
Don't look.
To try and take that one away? And, well, we see the Alchemist, but...
You're so good, Cap.
I know.
But
for me, I'm just not sure, like...
Well, you have first pick, though. So you don't have to ban the Doom.
Yeah, you could actually take the Doom. DK Phobos, I think, is... To build on what you were talking about, saying KD, I'm not sure like what the stats are for him, like GPM-wise, but I feel like they're a little bit more farm-oriented on their offlane position than some other teams. I think, for example, like I feel like Nib are a lot more aggressive with their offlaner, right? They're much more going to do a lot more with like an Axe or a Clockwork or something like that, a little bit more kill-oriented. Well, DK Phobos will be able to pick like lane dominators, right? The heroes like Darkseer, I think Broodmother really showcases a lot of his strength as well, that he just focused on being able to get a lot of farm and winning his matchup as best as he can.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with talking about the fact that FNG is really comfortable on those sort of tanky strength initiating supports, and Lil has that really good technical play where he can get sort of a chain familiar stun off, for example. It takes a little bit of the pressure off of the offlane position where DK Phobos doesn't have to concentrate as much on initiation and control compared to other offlaners.
I was just about to say, right. you go Radiant side, they take away the SF, go for the Tiny Wisp, why not?
Yeah, why
I mean,
not?
Radiant side stacks are so hard to contest. Like that hard camp, like how do you actually deal with that? How do you get in there? Because you're behind a tier 1, you're next to a tier 2, it's through this gap in the forest. Like it's so hard to actually be able to contest those stacks. So Wisp is great for that situation because you've got easy access to the hard camp, whereas Dire side is a little bit farther away. So you could very quickly get to your Tiny, even if you are stacking, and say there's some sort of gank that happens. And you know the enemy team's unlikely to contest, so draft kind of playing out exactly as we thought to begin with. I also want to point out that the Tusk ban, pretty smart play by Monkey Businesses. I think that's probably one of the more aggressive heroes that actually stymie their, I would say, first 10 minutes sort of hold that they usually have on a game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I really enjoy watching No-Tail play the other side of this matchup because we all probably know at this point, No-Tail's the winningest player of all time on Wisp, and just a ridiculous record on that hero. He knows the other side of this matchup so well, and he's already played it a couple of times with this new roster, the Tiny. I believe they're 3-1 with that pairing, and really there was part of one game, I believe, where one of their players DC'd and he played both. It's just,
yeah,
I mean,
that was actually
No-Tail,
absurd. I remember watching that game. Okay, so I was actually going to say Winter Wyvern for the pickup for VP, because a favorite hero of there on Lil, as you mentioned earlier, and I feel is a really good counter to the Tiny Wisp, but they go for the Broodmother, which actually means we're much more likely going to be seeing a one-position Doom.
I feel like it does kind of show your hand a bit. It's an early commitment, something like we saw a lot from Vega. They love the Brutes, they want to go in, but hey, that's 2 cores already, and Monkey Business are already going to be able to kind of decide where the lanes are going to go. So talking about a team who likes to dictate the pace in a game, they are going to begin to dictate possibly this draft. They
have we seen any team in this patch try out like the 4-position jungling Doom? I think it's terrible, but
no. I don't believe that we've seen Doom in all the roles 1 through 3. I don't believe we've seen a 4-role Doom yet. I'm sure one of the standard deviants out there could help me out on that, but this is the one circumstance when you have a chance to get a Doom and a Brood, just 2 heroes that are just so annoying to deal with that I don't mind giving away so much information early in the draft.
Yeah, I would agree. I wonder if I'm trying to think if there's any other way that Virtus Pro can actually change up their lanes, or if they're going to be stuck with the 1-position Doom. For example, can they run a dual lane mid? What is their plan against Tiny Wisp?
I was going to be like,
you can always lich.
I was going to say mid lane Brood, but then you're against the Wisp Tiny, and that's just the worst thing ever. But yeah, I don't know.
No, I feel like the lich pick would be really strong for VP because it almost. A lich pick right now almost allows you to make any lane into a powerful dual lane, especially with a Doom. You can put the lich and the Doom dual mid if you really want to against the Tiny and the Wisp.
Yeah, Lich Doom is probably one of the most, like, I oftentimes say this phrase about so many dual lanes, dual off lanes, but I would say that Doom Lich is probably one of the most powerful passive dual
Yeah,
offlanes.
yeah, I'd agree.
In that they're not aggressive like, say a Tusk Undying, Queen of Pain Undying, something like that actually gets, super aggressive in the first 2 minutes. It's so hard to shut out a Doom Lich. So I was thinking about the possibility, how would Doom do in that scenario? Obviously, it's not something you have a whole lot of experience with. You're not going to see that too often, but it's obviously we're kind of theory crafting here. It's much more likely Doom's going to be as a safe lane farmer, but who knows? Maybe VP will surprise us.
Let me put on my crazy tinfoil hat, boys. What do you think about a mid lane Bristle with something like a Lich? I know we know Bristle being the mid lane, can hold his own against with Tiny, but still can kind of get edged out. But maybe even throwing the Lich then.
That holds back to exactly what Alliance think about the Bristleback, that it's one of the best heroes to go up against, the Wisp Tiny as a dual lane mid, because you offer, like both of those heroes, Tiny and Wisp, don't have very good starting armor, so the physical damage is really good. You have obviously the innate tankiness, which you usually should be able to turn your back to at least half the damage, unless you get like caught by the stun while you're facing the Tiny and he also tosses you, then you're going to take the full damage of the combination. But it's pretty likely that you're going to be able to turn around for at least before the stun, or maybe when the toss comes in, if you're not the one being tossed. The Dazzle now as a nice defensive support, really good versus Doom because your heal over time really counters him out, and then obviously the Shellgrave provides some opportunities there as well.
Yeah, the one problem with the Bristleback at this point is that it probably puts G on a hero that he's not comfortable on. It probably leaves G on the Doom, and I'm not sure I want to see that. G much more comfortable with the explosive, the Queen of Pain, the Lina type heroes. He's played some Dragon Knight very well in the past.
Wind Ranger? What about a Wind Ranger?
Yeah, Wind
Tiny
Ranger
Wisp is
really
a nice
strong.
shackle target right there, but Undying for now is
there's your tanky strength support though. Your tanky strength teamfight oriented support that's been a hallmark of a lot of these successful Virtus Pro drafts.
How are they going to be laning it, though? Do you think they're actually going to be running something aggressive? Because that is maybe the downfall of teams that run these dual lanes mids, is that you actually know 100% very early on in the draft that there is only going to be 2 heroes in the bottom lane. You've already seen one of them, Dazzle. Very defensive, doesn't really provide a whole lot of offensive power. I don't think that's going to be good enough to stop some sort of aggressive lane, and then you could put Broodmother in a one-on-one matchup at your top lane.
Yeah, you can. I just feel like Brood loses so much of her value if she's not against 2 or 3 heroes. I feel like if you put Brood in a one-on-one matchup, she still can be a good hero. She still can do a lot for you, but so much of the value of Brood early on is just being horribly annoying for the enemy supports.
Yeah. At the same time, I feel that's also the downside of like an Undying pickup, is that you want him to be matched up against multiple heroes, and I'm just not sure what would they run Undying like as a mid laner? I don't really see how that actually works. Maybe it can actually work as a decent like laning phase support, but I don't feel very confident about it. Monkey Business though, really good synergy with their lineup now going to Slardar, and there's the G hero that you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think he's going to do just fine in this dual lane situation mid. They still have the flexibility if they want to pick up a Lich or another range support that's going to be able to give him some backup if he needs it. Dire side, the Crystal Maiden could be okay. They're on the Dire side. They have the option to have her kind of jungle
still there
stay
as
close
well.
to mid. Yeah, Witch Doctor, exactly.
Very good against IO Tiny.
I still do. I still do like this Monkey Business lineup. This is just the way they play. It's very, very well suited for what they like to go for. They probably will have that Slaughter in the safe lane, but they still have the option of sending an off lane with the Moon. Off lane Slaughter, something that a lot of people have talked about, but outside of Moo, we haven't seen a lot of it.
Yeah, I've only seen it maybe once or twice outside of him. I've actually played it a lot. It's a lot of fun. In this sort of game, I think Slardar actually, I've actually had the matchup Slardar versus Doom, and it's really nice because Doom has very low armor, so you can take advantage of that with a Slardar. So they could burst down Doom pretty quickly here. I feel like...
So you think, are you thinking about a dual offlane Slardar Dazzlement, or are you going to keep him safe lane?
Then what heroes would be left to match up against a Broodmother really well? Because there's still Axe in the pool.
Yeah, there's still Axe. You still have Legion Commander.
Oh,
Legion Commander's quite good. The lockdown is incredible. Razor, so...
all right.
Is this going to be an offlane Slardar?
No, I think they should. I really think they should. I think Razor 1v1 against Broodmother, boy.
I mean, you don't have the greatest AoE clear from this team. Like, Slardar has Crush, Razor has the Plasma Field, but it's not like that overwhelming amount of AoE that ensures that you clear through Brood things really quickly. So,
yeah, I am not okay. I am not sure about this Razor pick.
You said that last time too.
It's also a hero. It's also a hero that Miracle is going to be on a hero that he's not necessarily going to be crazy about playing.
Yeah, okay, so I think what they may actually switch things up. Tiny Wisp, the Wisp does terribly against the Broodmother, so I was thinking maybe they actually put the Razor up against the Templar Assassin, but then I think the Tiny Wisp, like the Tiny can clear through Brood things okay, but the Wisp is left in a very bad position because you're not able to pull or anything. The Broodmother is easily able to go on you, so I'm not sure if that would work out either.
I mean, he does have games. I should point it out. He's 2-0 on Razor, 1-0 on Slardar, 1-0 on Tiny is Miracle. So he can play all three of these heroes.
The problem is it's a Razor, guys. You see a Razor, it's kind of like, it's a Razor.
Yeah, he's one of those heroes like Viper. Like, no one really likes to see that hero. No one really likes to play that hero. And VP actually go for the Lil Visage.
I'm telling you, man, watching this guy play Visage, his skill cap is just so, that hero's skill cap is so insanely high, and Lil is one of the few players I think that can really realize the full potential of that hero.
So what do you think, guys? We got the full 5 spread amongst both sides here. Monkey Business with a good comfort duo between that Tiny Wisp. But they ran it out. Bit interesting with the Slardar and the Razor. Are we feeling pretty confident about that, or you look to the other side for Virtus Pro there?
I like VP a lot more before the Razor pick. Sorry, I like Monkey Business a lot more before the Razor pick. I'm leaning toward VP now.
What do you think?
I'm leaning towards VP as well. It's just really tough to go up, say no to Monkey Business when they have the Tiny Wisp, just because they have such a good success rate. And I really like a lot of their synergy within their heroes. If VP are going to win, they're going to have to showcase it in the first 10 minutes.
And that Doom, we've seen what work it can do there, gentlemen. Now, the game is going to be underway. We'll go ahead and take our moment now to throw it right over to Toby1 and Blitz. Our casters, please take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, we are here for game number 1 of this best of 3. Monkey versus VP is the winner's bracket part of Group A. I should say winner's bracket. It's the winner's match, as we are here for our group stage match. But Monkey, man, the panel was saying they really like the draft until the Razor. What do you think? Is the Razor the thing?
You needed a hero that can tank and just kind of run at people. At the same time, you've got a hero like Slardar that has your initiation for you, so you need another source of damage aside from your Tiny Wisp combination.
Yep.
I kind of like it. I think the Visage pick does pretty well against all of Monkey Business's lineup, and at the same time, it provides a hero that he's really comfortable with. But for me, it just depends on how well this mid matchup goes, and if the Brood can actually just go around the map creating space, which is very likely.
Broodmother is kind of that. Like, she'll always be able to find that space. I kind of want to stick with the Razor in our discussion, though, because it's something which Monkeys, like, they beat EG when they played the Razor. And they're sitting there going, you know what, like, we understand this. We understand they picked this hero. We understand all the weaknesses of that hero. Like, they wouldn't pick this thing if they didn't feel comfortable that it was good against the VP lineup. Even when they last pick it, so they know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah, I agree, Toby1. I think it's a really good hero, too.
Okay.
It tanks up really well for you, and it's one of the better heroes against Doom, just because if you decide to go for one of those run-at-you builds, then you can tank the Doom, and it's a target that Doom doesn't want to tank.
Yep. Beautiful.
Why did you look at me when I said your name, Toby?
No, it's just the way you know how you say it.
What do you mean? It's my Asian inflection, Toby1.
It is definitely not. It is most definitely not. Let me just draw an 8. All right. So top rune should belong to Monkey here unless VP is going to try and contest it. And, well, actually, VP are coming in quite heavily for this. And it might cause a bit of a conflict. Miracle already wants to start with the static link. He'll do it over on Illidan. Now, Moon, he is right on top of that rune. Now, who's going to be grabbing it? He gets a 2-man crush, and it does go to Slardar as well as a Tiny. But Moon, can he get out of this one? Quick, gets him alive. FNG's actually down for the count. There's a quick salve coming in, which was
so
burnt
much damage
on the Slardar,
Miracle,
but they just keep fighting through. He's stolen 21 extra points of damage.
He's got the move speed now.
There's no soul assumption, and there's that move speed. You'd say kicking him. He's at a 13 life. It's a lucky number for him right now, running further and further away, but it's not lucky enough. The Razor will pick up one of the kills. And that is going to be a 2-0 advantage to a team that's already running potentially very aggressive dual lanes, plus the Tiny to grab that rune on the bottom lane.
That is surprising, considering that it was actually VP that set that trap. You would figure that they had the better give, but I mean, that was just really well fought by Monkey overall. They understood that as long as they held the line, and with the Slardar so close to so many heroes, that they were going to get a multiple hero slithering crush off. But really well played overall by Monkey. VP definitely didn't see that coming. They figured that if there was any sort of aggression, they could stimmy it by just having the decay coupled with the Visage Soul Assumption. But they were wrong.
Man, God really, he's relying on pure refraction to do this damage in the mid, because he's not backing up for Miracle. Miracle just goes for the static link and keeps removing like 50 points of damage.
And Miracle's already got boots. He's got one of the first kills in the game. At the same time, he's got an assist too. Neither of these heroes, like, if I remember correctly, were able to get the bounty rune. It was actually
correct.
the Slardar and the Tiny.
It was Slardar and Tiny.
So that means that hurts VG actually a lot more than it hurts the Razor, just because the Razor has that kill backing him up.
Okay, let's look towards a lane which maybe VP will have more success in. Apart from that, okay, the toss from Notal. Crit just moved back into a nice position. FNG's going to cop so much damage for this. Luckily for him, he has got 4 decays. 2 stolen from both Wisp and Tiny. But how's Phobos meant to do down here? Like, is this lane going the way he's hoping early on?
Brood doesn't quite lose any lane, just because of the principle of the heroes just to disrupt the off lane as much as possible and force 2 heroes to be here at all times. You might die once in a while, but aside from that, you can kind of recover a lot easier than most of the offlane heroes can, just because you can use the enemy jungle, and you'll just naturally be down here the entire time. The good part about having a Tiny Wisp, though, is that even if they decide to go for a gank, they'll just come back at the end of it and not really give you anything to work with. But for me, it's more this middle lane matchup. G has to do well against Miracle.
He's doing decently. Like, they're even CS at the moment, but Miracle keeps doing this.
That'll change. That blue wave, it just makes it so hard to CS.
Yep.
Even with that refract charge, he's barely at even now.
He's at least keeping up. This gets scattered at FNG. It is during the daytime still, but Fly is making his move over, and that courier is being very much protected. It will be a flying courier now, and it'll go over the tree line. So, safety. Fly will be able to find FNG here inside the jungle, but this is a double damage room versus Decay, and now Tombstone. Fly trying to be more of a man here. He's still got more of the DD, and with one more attack, he can do the work. Shallow Grave will buy him the time to do that too. The problem is the Decay and these Undying minions just chasing after him, and Fly doesn't want a bar of it. He's going to TP out. He realized he would die if he stayed any longer. But he blows the first Tombstone and reveals the rotation. While on bottom lane, it's Phobos just getting beaten down by Notal. The avalanche toss, not enough to bring this Broodmother within risk of death.
I'm actually surprised that they decided to go for that kill, and they even popped the dust. I guess you can kind of make the argument that you got some decent harass off, but at the same time, dust, that's about 90 gold down the drain that you're not going to get back, and you can't really afford to lose those charges when you're not going for kills.
And does your harassment even work? Like when you got level 2 webs off of Phobos, he's just going to regen it up.
Exactly, and he's got the Soul Ring available for him too, so when it comes to natural regen, he's doing just fine. His Broodlings should be able to get the Sentry. Actually, Notail gets the Tango eaten at the last second, but as I was saying, it's not really a lane that harass matters much in, and I completely agree with you, Toby.
Yeah, it's kill or nothing, basically. But at the same time, Notal, by harassing into this Broodmother, Phobos is being at least a little bit more tentative about jumping into the lane. And having the Sentry Ward battle as well goes the way of Notal, because it means he can just farm up all these Spiderlings. Like his CS is 27 for 4 at the moment. That's looking good. Okay, Miracle, troublesome. He's going to steal the damage, and now how much damage? It might be 4 more hits at this rate. Miracle steals 105 points of damage and pops a regeneration rune. They haven't gone through the defensive refraction charges. The plants of field pulls back in, so it does do a little bit more. For damn God, actually he stuck around a little bit longer. That's still 105 soul and damage. 2 hits go into God. Dropping him so low.
That is so brutal. Using pretty much all of your mana and your last hit potential just to go for that kill.
They're about to have a crack. With the crush on Doom, they're going to keep him out and then into the sprint. Fly does still have Shallow Grave, and that's why FNG has to do this block. There's no crush available, even with the 5-6 charges. Fly, okay, there is a level death. That'll give you a cancel, and Doom able to get that last swing in before Fly was able to get back in range of that tier 1 tower, at least the safety range of that tier 1 tower.
And I really like that Illidan decided to skill at that point, securing himself a kill. But meanwhile, at bottom lane, they actually do get a kill.
Even without the help of the tower. That's a 2-3 combo, yet it was still enough to kill off the Brood. It must be a very injured Broodmother before that began.
Yeah, that is quite surprising to me. He is doing some damage at this bottom lane, and he's actually dipping quite low. He doesn't have that regen, 29 HP, but just exits the web. Should be okay. That was a lot closer than I thought it'd be, though.
And he'll survive. Luckily, Notel as well keeping his cool, because he didn't then burn the salve which he had in his hands. Allows him to regenerate up to a point that he can stand on the lane here with Phobos. That Sentry Ward's going to time out in 3 seconds time, which is definitely not what he wants to have up against Broodmother. But is there a new one coming in from Crit? No. In fact, they actually don't have detection on Crit anymore.
I really like that Illidan decided to go for this armor creep too. It makes it so much harder for them to get any sort of offensive potential on the top lane. Not that they really had any on Monkey Business anyways, but it means that even if Moon decides to hit that level 6, it's not going to do too much.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they're making their move, but this is a really tanky top lane.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to cut through both another Shadow Wave and the Shallow Grave. There's no point in being able to harass that out. And I like that Monkey Business constantly go to some sort of aggressive dual lane. It just feels like it sort of fits their playstyle.
Yeah. Which just seems to like rotate around this whole, we just win by lane presence alone. And the dual lanes allow everyone else then to rotate into this mid kind of timing attack, be it onto heroes or be it onto towers.
And Monkey Business just sets the pace so fast with how well they do in the lane phase.
Relocate coming up towards the top lane. It's going to bring in Notel, looking for Illidan. Not the perfect avalanche, just hoping to hit Lil as well. But that means Crit and Notel will be going back down to bottom lane.
So beautiful about the combination because they just do a surprise gank, don't even lose the tower at bottom because here they are again.
Yep. Phobos doesn't have that time to attack. It's the beauty of the Wisp Tiny, isn't it? Like normally when you rotate like that, then the Broodmother's attacking into your tower. Gets at least a little bit of chip damage, but Miracle, okay. Eye of the Storm being triggered. He's already triggered his double damage rune. He's searching for God in the tree line, who will reveal himself, but God is using the Fog of War perfectly. Makes it so this ulti of Race doesn't achieve anything. In fact, he's coming over just to look at the Ancients as well, to check and see what's going on.
G's got to be careful. He actually doesn't have Meld quite yet, but he's banking on Miracle not actually fighting this, but Miracle has so much damage!
Oh my! The Tombstone, FNG did not have Soul Rip. Miracle will still die here, however, with the rotation in from the Broodmother helping the Undying to ensure the kill. So that's still a big kill coming back the way of the Broodmother and the Undying.
I'm so surprised that G decided to stick around for that, because that's the strength of the Razors, that suddenly you're thinking to yourself, 2 seconds ago I did half of his health with that refraction hit, and now I'm doing nothing. And all of a sudden you've given up 158 damage. And then on top of that, the Razor had a DD rune.
Yep.
G just got way too aggressive there.
Ends up losing his life for it. Comes back to the mid lane, however, and it's still taking a while before Razor can return. But Fly's soaking up the damage in the meantime, the experience in the meantime. And now Miracle has returned to the lane. How's that bottom lane looking? So Notel's already starting his attack on this bottom tower. Very easy to do even before Aghanim Scepter, just because you've got that toss. And with the Wisp Spirits as well, they can burn through. Okay, that's a lot of Spiderlings to give over. And also a wonderful animation bug.
Yeah, there was...
Add that to the list.
I mean, they also tossed up a brown dot into the air.
Yeah, I don't know what... I'm guessing it was a spider that just splattered on the ceiling.
That's gross. I don't like spiders, Toby.
I love them.
You're from Australia. It makes sense.
Yep. I would have a spider as a pet.
Can you not in Germany?
I probably could.
Oh, Fly!
Yeah, he's on the run out of here. But Phobos, he doesn't really have much more to give. There's a Shadow Wave as well as a Shallow Grave, so it's pretty difficult. And while they're doing this, while they're chasing after the support hero, Notel finished up the bottom tower. Now, I kind of want to see Notel's build, because I know he likes to rush into the Aghanim Scepter, especially when he's got a Wisp behind him. But is this the game to do that?
I think so. You've already got a lot of initiating presence. You could decide to go for the Blink Dagger and then just start the fight immediately. Maybe force some inopportune dooms by Illidan. You could kind of get away with that this game.
Oh, FNG. So much damage. The last attack from Crit's going to arrive. But the Avalanche toss plus the extra chip. Miracle made it so God's attention was pretty well focused towards the mid lane. And now they split
Illidan
themselves up,
wants the
so
Doom.
Crit's a very simple tether away. Illidan can't reach him in time for the Doom, even with Phase Boots. And God instantly moves over to take this Ancient stack. He understands that Monkeys will not let them have this easily, even though they can't clean it themselves.
Yeah, Monkeys is just going to put the pressure onto this mid lane.
How much is here, though? Like, you're bringing so many heroes in here. Like, it's practically your entire team, apart from Phobos, who's on the bottom lane feeding spiders. And now this gives Moomiander all the space in the world to get solo experience, as well as being able to get that, like, the money for the Blink Dagger. Lil also just lost both of his familiars in mid lane.
He doesn't have the cooldown up on them, too. This is a really unfortunate scenario for him, because usually you can kind of say that, well, that's okay, because I can just resummon them. But it's the gold on top of losing them for a full 90 seconds, and it really cuts the effectiveness of the hero a lot. Because most of the time you want to be able to soak up XP in one lane and then use the birds to kind of just
N0tail, he has that blink. Avalanche tosses in, and that Templar Assassin just disappears. FNG's also out a little bit too far. All the balls connecting apart from one, and that might just be, okay, it was two. And two was enough to slap him down. The Tombstone will also be brought down. With no one dying to heal it up, you've lost your Visage. Visage actually died back behind the tier 2 tower. That's how far out he was. And Phobos, if he runs east, he's there. Oh, he ran in. The Avalanche and Toss will still be there, and Phobos, he'll end up dropping.
No.
They trigger the dust very late after his death, but it's still the kill going the way of Monkeys and this mid tower to follow.
I mean, just look at that ward coverage by Monkey Business right there. There was only one spot that DK Phobos could have ran, and he didn't choose the right one. That was not the correct place to run. I'm just blown away by how well they run this Wisp timing combination, though, and I think it is in large part to how well N0tail understands the combination and how he's supposed to move. Because he played that hero for almost like 2 years when he was on the side of Fnatic. He played Wisp every time, and that's really got to help your understanding of how you want your Tiny to move, what you want out of your Tiny, and credit to Crit as well for always following through. But
it's also how quickly they got this. Like, it's the presence of mind. Like, okay, so N0tail got a lot of farm on the bottom lane, so he was able to get the very early Blink Dagger. That timing was perfect for the timing of them VP trying to take out their Ancients, or at least finish their Ancients. And they still had that presence of mind to know that the TA was over there doing what she was doing. Obviously, the Observer Ward helped a hell of a lot.
a lot of map control right now by Monkey Business, though, and they're not going to give it up anytime soon. When you've got a tiny Wisp and you're this far ahead, then a 12-minute Blink Dagger on Slardar. I don't know how Moon was able to do that. I guess it was just because the pace of the game, and this is what we were talking about, and EG struggled with this early on. The pace that Monkey Business kind of lay on top of you
so
is so difficult.
N0tail's about to jump himself in, looking for the big avalanche, catches out 3 heroes. The
Where's the
Field's in
stun?
there too. It's not there just yet by Slardar. Now Will and the Templar Assassin, but the Tombstone is down. They cannot deal with it. The Doom is on the Razor with no ultimate available. They leave Shallow Grave on Slardar, but Miracle is just so damn low.
Miracle's not
going to
gonna
heal
survive?
him 1 second time. There's the heal, and it buys him just enough time to survive. But you've still lost the Tiny who bought back. The Wisp and Slardar ended up dropping, and N0tail, he's just hunting after Illidan. The top
He's got the
with
damage.
a punch, it's going to be enough to get the kill on the Doombringer and FNG, and God, they've abandoned Roshan, while Broodmother, he chased after the Dazzle, who could not keep up with N0tail. But N0tail's back up with his mana. He's got himself that combo, and he can see God going in for the Ancients. He's just waiting here with the Observe Ward up, watching the rotations, understanding they're not doing Roshan anymore.
I think they're just hoping to bait
There's
out
the jump.
N0tail, but they're going to go for it.
With the Plasma Field, that's a lot of damage. One more punch. 19 life on God. He's still on the run out of here. Miracle.
Oh, the Wisp.
He needs the movement speed, and he got a haste rune. The Wisp will relocate in with the Spirits. Able to find the pickoff.
This is like an 8-minute engagement. Both teams just battling it out. Neither side really wants to give up anything. With Moon Meander here too, they could go for this Roshan. Their damage is pretty low, but with the amplified damage, it might make it easier for them, but at the same time, everyone from VP is ready, but N0tail.
They're going after the kills instead. I think they're more concerned about what Phobos is going to be up to.
DK Phobos has had just such a good game. He had a triple kill there. He almost has that Orchid available with the phase boots. Monkey's just going to walk straight back in.
This is dangerous, man. They don't have a sentry down for the Radiant side. They have Dust, but they don't have a sentry.
They've got a bird in here and a lot of spiders, but I don't actually think...
And N0tail, he just doesn't care. He jumps up after Lil with the Wiz coming up with the Spirits. They're going to find the kill and the follow-up.
They could get
crush from
Illidan here
Slardar.
too.
They're going to find Illidan. He'll get the Doom off on Crit versus support only. FNG wants to help out. The Tombstone is dropped. Miracle will quickly mop this up, and Crit, the Shallow Grave will try and keep him alive. They have to get these spiders off him. He needs a couple of seconds longer, and he just does not have it.
If they could get G here, though, this would be such a good trade for them.
With the Avalanche toss, they've got it, man. The Templar Assassin is down. The Doom is down. The advantage is they're so low, they just keep on respawning, but man, this Templar Assassin is 0 for 4. There's no momentum whatsoever coming in for God.
I mean, the speed that Monkey Business is playing at is just so fast. They immediately lose 3 heroes. No-Tail buys back. He thinks to himself, okay, we'll just continue the fight. It's whatever. The relocate comes in, and then all of a sudden, everybody from Monkey Business is respawn. And they're just picking off heroes one by one as VP just kind of filter through into that Roche pit and say to themselves, we can't give this up, but I mean, they just fought that so improperly. You don't want to just filter heroes one by one. You want to make a group effort if you're going to go for that assault. You have to trust that Monkey Business. It's going to take them some time to go for that Roshan, and you have vision with the spiders. So there's no reason to have to commit so hard around that Roche pit. But time and time again, they just kept going in one by one, and they just allowed themselves to get picked off.
It's kind of the way we've seen Monkey play up against EG earlier today as well. Like, they just force their pace game. And do I dare want to bring up what happened at the tier 1 tower on the top lane with EG coming in one by one? This felt very, very similar. And I'm wondering if it's just this pressure style that Monkeys gets to play, where they understand the time and they understand when VP and when EG were ready to fight, and then they push it just a couple of minutes earlier, where you sit on the edge, they're saying, am I actually good to fight? You think you are, so you just go for it. Middle lane, looks like Illidan, the blink, crush, relocate's coming in as well, and Illidan, he gets brought down with the avalanche toss! Oh my! Visage Nun dying! They just disintegrate. What a play by Monkeys. They are just moving perfectly across this map. They are baiting VP into the fights, or taking the best chances they can find. A small advantage, and now they even find God as well. The Observe Ward was over in the Dire jungle. There's your avalanche from No-Tel. He just waits it out, but it's going to be too long. They're taking out the towers anyway. Brood to take out the bottom, and the rest of Monkeys to take out the mid.
There's something so satisfying, Toby, about watching a Wisp get tossed into the air and just kind of crush 2 heroes on the way down. It's just so comical, because you think it's like the weakest thing in the world, then it lands and it deals 300 damage. But Monkey again.
Wisp does have damage of his own too.
No, he doesn't.
That's a level 4 spirit, man. That's 100 damage per ball.
Come on, man. He's also got 7 earn charges. I think he's just forgotten about it. They're never really losing fights in the beginning anyways, so there's no reason for him to use it. They don't need it to sustain pushes. Like, they're fine. And at 18 minutes in, No-Tail has an Aghanim Scepter completed to
and
go
Wisp
along
has
with
a
it.
full mech as well.
Does he really?
He has a full mech. Completed 18 minutes in on Crit. You talk about No-Tel understanding the Wisp matchup. Crit is playing it perfectly as well. Now, VP, they're attempting some kind of bait. It's just going to turn to a tower trade-off. But you're trading up against an Aghanim's Tiny. He's probably going to be very happy to go high ground here.
They're going to just keep going in. They understand that this is a lot easier for them to do.
It's going to take time for VP to get back. Does everyone have TP scrolls? Yep. They're all coming back.
But he's already in base.
Yep. And one swing almost takes out that entire Dire creep wave. The tier 3 tower is almost gone. God Refraction is up, so he was able to blink himself away and avoid the damage from the avalanche toss as the Undying minion is tossed towards the Doombringer. But No-Tel will back out. They got what they wanted. Tombstone is burnt. They didn't use any major abilities. That's fine. And they've got so much armor anyway. They could actually run. Okay, the weave is wearing out now.
I think with the Aegis available, you just kind of wait out the Tombstone, re-engage half a second later.
It's down.
But it looks like they want to make sure that this bottom tower is kind of secured. The Wisp is here in case any shenanigans happen at top, but they just disengage.
It is that disengage though, where it's like, it doesn't feel like a proper disengage. If you leave 3 players up inside the Dire jungle, you can just relocate in No-Tel. Wisp will do everything he needs to in a very short space of time, and they basically win the game in the space of 5 seconds.
They've just got so much map control right now that they don't have to worry about any of these individual skirmishes from their teammates. They know that the Wisp Tiny can always be there, and that constant ever-looming threat is what's keeping VP on their toes. Because normally what would happen is, if you're at a numbers advantage like they were in a 3v5 fight, no matter how far behind you are, you take that fight. But because you have a Tiny and a Wisp on the other side, you can't really anticipate taking that fight. You kind of have to think to yourself, yeah, it's only 2 heroes that we see right now, but it could potentially be 5 instantly.
Yep. Miracle, trouble for him at the moment.
And this is what we're talking about.
The big crush. He called out 3. The relocate's coming from behind with the avalanche toss. They can actually bring down with the cleave 3 of the heroes. VP, this is not the dream right now. They're gonna lose Phobos as well. The sole survivor is God. Up on the top lane, probably about to try and push out that top lane, so at least he doesn't, well, actually, no, he's still going to lose it because they can push in the middle lane and rotate up towards the top and take out the racks. The TP, however, is coming up, so it's Slaughter. The Blink Crush out of time. God blinks himself into the tree line and out to safety, but it doesn't matter. Notel only needs himself and to take out that top racks, but he does have friends. And they're even going to find the familiars on the way back in. If they can bring these guys down before they get the crush, there goes one of your stuns. The Avalanche keeps Lil away.
Without that Aegis available, I mean, Monkey is just kind of thinking to themselves, let's wait it out a little bit, but...
Why take the risk? You've got 3K on Notel. You can probably buy half of that Assault Cuirass already.
Exactly, and it seems so prophetic. At the same time, we were talking about how if VP decided to take that 3v5 fight because they think they have numbers, the Wistiny just comes from behind, but that was more just set up by the fact that Moon had a beautiful setup. That 3-man crush into that 3-man toss Avalanche, everyone just instantly exploded. And VP have to worry about that more and more.
Man, they're going to worry about it even more. Like, you're getting a Shiva's Guard almost on the Razor. He's got most of it back at the base right now. You're getting a Crimson Guard over on the Slaughter. Actually applying any level of damage is going to be difficult. And Tiny is now going in for, well, you could assume it's going to be a Butterfly. But I got this inkling feeling that he's looking towards Kneeblade. Just an inkling.
Just an inkling?
It's only because of something I heard over lunch.
All right, so...
But that's Moon Meander's influence.
I mean, Moon Meander's a clown. I love him, though.
That was his plan with Prophet before, by the way.
I'm so glad that he changed his name. I was like, Moon Me and her, but he loves his girlfriend. I can't hate him for that.
Yeah. All right, so VP, they're cleaning up bottom, but again, Monkeys, they're grouping up on the top. What's coming out in the curry at the moment? So it's not the end of the Shivas. Miracle still, she's going to sell something to pick up the plate mail, and yep, there it is. So the Shivas Guard is out.
They are so geared up right now, everybody from Monkey. I can't even believe the pace that they're setting right now in this game. Just fight after fight. They understand
it's amazing, too, because it's actually bringing back the old classic push strats.
It's not even, for me, it's less about just a straight up push and more just the fact that they control the map so well with the type of heroes that they pick. When they take the Ember Spirit, when they take the Meepo, when they're willing to just play that Beastmaster mid, even though not a lot of teams do. It's just about setting the tempo, controlling the mid game, controlling the jungle, and VP, they're here as 5.
Miracle.
Is Miracle really the target you want to go on, though?
No, he's not. They doom up, and there's a 3-man crush from Moon. The relocate will allow them to disengage. And, well, Notal wants them to group up. You could throw down sentries all you want. The obs are down as well, but Tiny's ready to jump in probably 2, 1. Okay, he just goes it with the Avalanche toss and Moon to follow up. Illidan's completely crushed up and controlled, but it doesn't even matter if you get a Doom target off. They've lost 2, they've lost 3, they're going to lose God. They may actually lose even more than this. The Doombringer was able to get himself in the tree lines. They've lost the game. It's 27-7 is the end score as Monkey setting one hell of a pace here at MLG.
More than a kill a minute so far for them. I mean, it's just so hard to keep up with that kind of style where you get behind early, and Monkey Business, they just choke you out. They don't really allow you opportunities to get back into the game. They're never going to split up on the map. We saw early on in the tournament where they played against EG, and you saw that moment where Crit was like that. That was like the one time I saw one of their individual players get caught off.
Yep.
But for the most part, I mean, they just move together as a unit so well. Everyone's always there to back themselves up. Every single time they took a fight, at worst it was 3v5 with a Tiny Wisp ready to come in.
And it was a spectacular performance by Monkey. Of course, right now we haven't seen anything less from them on the main stage apart from maybe game 1 against EG, but they've shrugged it off and now they're looking pretty damn good. For now, though, we throw it over to our experts. And Cap.
Thank you so much, Toby and Blitz. I haven't heard that one before.
At least Toby's bringing some originality to the casting desk. Never heard that one before.
All right, gentlemen, take it easy over here. What is true, though, is that Monkey Business continue to perform. They're quickly looking like the favorites of this whole tournament. You could just see it. There's such a good cohesive unit. We've already talked about the camaraderie, and they continue to show it here. When you look at a game like that and you're like, who was the star player? And you're just like, well, they're just a well-oiled machine. What do you do? It's ridiculous. I mean, to make Virtus Pro look like that, dang.
Well, really two turning points in that game. So number one was the decision by G at 8 minutes to take the fight against Miracle's Razor on that dire side ramp where Miracle had the double damage rune up and G did what would kindly be described as an ill-advised turn and fed that kill. And then died 3 minutes later, and then 3 minutes after that, and then a minute after that, and all of a sudden you go from a TA that is holding her own in a very, very difficult laning matchup against that Razor to 4 deaths at the 15-minute mark. And it really snowballed out of control from there. And the second thing, and again, very, very simple thing, guys. Reddit's going to flame me. It's a day ending in Y. But, the Blink Dagger decision, by Notel. All right? People talk way too much about item builds in Dota being good or bad, unconditionally, okay? You make an item build good or bad depending on how you play it and how your team plays around you. And they played around that Blink Dagger so well.
They picked up the Blink Dagger, they picked up the Blink Dagger and they got 3 kills, a Tombstone, and a mid-tier 1 tower. That Blink paid for itself in 2 minutes. It was
it was amazing. I think the Blink Dagger is being prioritized a lot more by Tinies just because they see the opportunity of being able to, especially before when it was first being kind of experimented. It used to be, way back in the day, Dota 1, you would see mid-Tinies all the time go for Blink Daggers, so they obviously know. It's been around for a while, right? But just recently, teams were, kind of experimenting with it in the last patch, and you saw the opportunity because there were so many squishy intelligence heroes, you'd be like, I could just blow up these cores. Like, why wouldn't I go for a Blink Dagger, right? And we're seeing that it works very well to Monkey Business's playstyle, which they're able to take advantage of, like, especially if you're getting a little bit greedy, right? You've got a Sardar there, you've got a Tiny there, and they also have, like, what was the third core that they had farming up?
Razor?
That was
the Razor,
that's right. So you have 3 different cores who all kind of need a decent amount of farm. So you don't want to be trying to go like too greedy with your Tiny. I think it was just really smart laning phase setup. Like we were going into before the the draft ended, the mid Razor versus a Templar Assassin. But what we didn't get into is the fact that the dual lane that was left would be the Dazzle Sardar. Right. And that is minus armor and physical damage up against a Doom who doesn't have a whole lot of armor and is very easily put pressure on, especially in the first 2 minutes before he can get like level 3, level 5. Like those are very key levels for a Doom. And I said before, like the matchup there, like the Sardar with the amplified damage, like you really take advantage of a Doom better than most other heroes in the patch can right now.
I mean, and to me, I mentioned this on stream before, but to me, the most indicative stat right now in this metagame is that Radiant side dual off lanes have a 60% win rate. That's it's almost an unheard of win rate for a particular laning type. Like 55% is already a huge advantage. It just speaks to, and Radiant off lane in the last patch was kind of often a lane that we didn't really talk or think about very much. The meta has changed. We've already talked, Milk I think said something earlier about it, about how that off-lane meta has opened up. And I think that's really indicative of that.
Yeah, quite dramatically. The off-lane position is actually so much more open than it used to be. There would be like 4 heroes that would be routinely picked up from the off-lane. But if you include dual lanes into the occasion as well, off-laners are just going to start showing. I think this is going to be the patch where you separate some of the off-laner players and see the ones that, okay, yeah, you can play 2 or 3 heroes, right? Very, very strong, but are you able to actually play, a more versatile, much more diverse hero pool and still be able to maintain that kind of dominant form?
All right, and with that, we're going to go ahead and cut to a small break, but when we return, it's going to be Game 2 of Monkey Business going against Virtus Pro. We'll see you soon.